Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, when I'm out on another exploration. I'm in a cobweb-filled phone box, complete with phone, but no dialing tone. I'm only in here because it's incredibly windy today. Let's go outside. The reason I have started in the phone box is mainly because I just happened to see it there. I'm in Streat in East Sussex, and I want to have a look at Streat Church. Streat Church, just up here behind me, is a church that has actually no dedication. We'll go through this rather lovely lich gate here, and we'll come out past this horse chestnut tree and reveal the church that is there today. Streat is a tiny little village, complete, if I look round here, with a very impressive manor house next door. We can't really see much of it, but it's just in there. In East Sussex, as I say, at the foot of the Southdowns. Now, I have been here before, and when I came here before, it was to look at the giant V that has been grown, I think, to commemorate one of Victoria's jubilees, probably a silver jubilee or diamond jubilee, one of those. Somebody will correct me. It's incredibly windy, so I apologise for that. Behind me here, rather lovely yew tree, and then this amazing church. The church, we're on a bit of a ridge actually, which is interesting. It's a part of a green sand ridge, and this church, or the original church, dates back to the Domesday Book and beyond. Apparently there were two churches here in this little village of Streat. One almost certainly on this site, a Saxon church, that has been since replaced when the Normans came with a Norman church. So for 900 odd years people have been coming here at least to pray to their God and all those things that people did. I'm going to carry on walking around so we get a good view of it. And it's been added to in the 13th century. The chancel was extended in the 13th century. And then there's another aisle as well, not sure when that is. There was a lot of work in the Victorian period, and as you can see, what you see now really is the result of restoration work from that time. But it's a lovely, well looked after church in what is a very scattered village. It's a village with houses down one main route that's scattered about in farmland, and of course we're just north of the Southdowns. And there I think we get to see a rather terrific view. Not too many graves in this churchyard, but on the opposite side, if you look through that hedge there, we can just see a few more. It's very dark inside the church, but I'm going to go in another yew tree here. Beautiful yew with plenty of shade, if shade is what you want on a hot day. And we'll come round and we'll walk up into it. This is an interesting grave here. Look at this, it's almost like a sundial, and it says sunshine passes, but the love remaineth. Let's go into the church. We'll come up here once more, having circumnavigated. You can see with the walls of the church here how the stonework has, this is using local flint, but it's got all this render in there, which is very modern render now. It's Victorian render, which is holding it all together. So that belies really its age. But actually, if we look here, come around here, we can see a bit more of the sandstone and the rubble, with fewer flints in there that hold it all together. and this newer window that has been added afterwards in the Victorian period, and also above us the bell cot, or rather the bell tower, I suppose. And here some very old graves right at the foot by the doorway, the north door, showing us inside. We'll go into the church, which is quite dark, so forgive me if it's grainy. And in we go. Always like to close the door behind you. So this is the nave that I'm in now, and of course it's very, very different to it would have been back in the 11th century when it was originally built. And we can see these rather grand dedications here and friezes on the wall behind me. And this is actually from, well, it says 1764. So there we go, that's the 18th century, so that's more Georgian. And if we walk up towards the chancel, great chancel arch here, and the chancel was added, as I said, in the 13th century. We actually walk over some gravestones, which is not unusual. People often say to me when I'm exploring churches, they say, oh, you've had no respect, you've walked over people's graves. Well, when you go into a church, you cannot help but walk over graves. And clearly, because of that, it couldn't have been a thing back in the day when they first started using graves. After all, many people were put in the same grave at different intervals. But what's interesting about these graves, these are iron. This is a massive slab of iron, dating here, it's got dates 1733 and 1754. There's another one here, 1781. And beyond that, 1775, which is a stone grave stone. They're iron, as I said, and what's interesting about that is it signifies the beginning, or recognise, I suppose, may not be necessarily the beginning, but the iron industry that was prevalent here in Sussex and into Kent from Roman times, really, where iron was extracted and forges and hammer ponds were set up, which is why sometimes when you go around Sussex you'll find iron gravestones in the graveyard, and you'll wonder, that's a bit odd, but it's because iron was very common material back then, and often in parts where it's just clay, more common than stone. We've got a lovely organ here, which I imagine is Victorian, very beautifully decorated. And we have the altar up here, of course, with its wonderful leaded stained glass windows. And this wooden surround here, which makes it look very nice. I think that's not the piscina, is it, that side? I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe it is. Maybe that's where you put a candle in. Looking west, where we've come, we come back into the congregation, and you can see on my left there is an aisle which must have been added at some point as the village grew, and then close to the north door is the font, which is in front of us, directly beneath the bell tower. Really a tower, it is a tower at the top there. I don't know how you would get in, there must be a separate staircase somewhere. But there seems to be some ropes here which you can ring the bells. They go up towards the ceiling. So I guess there's no pealing of bells. Nobody's actually ringing the bells here in Streat. But it's an interesting system. I'm not quite sure how they are rung other than pulling them there, but maybe they're relayed in another place. Right at the very top, there's another tiny window which almost looks Saxon at the top, but it's got glass in it, stained glass. And when the sun shines in, actually, this is quite ethereal. It is quite nice. It's very beautiful, and a little altar down here.
I hope you're enjoying this video. Why not help me make more and become a patron? A small donation really makes all the difference and keeps me out and about producing these magnificent presentations. So go to baldexplorer.com and become a patron today.
Well, I shall come back out now. It's nice to see there's even an induction loop for people who are hard of hearing at the services. Well, it's very windy outside here. I'm not going to venture out, even though the sun has shined, is now shining rather. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the little investigation of Streat's parish church. I'll be out and about exploring somewhere else, but in the meantime, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, all the usual things. Become a patron, support what I do, and I'll be out and about exploring more parts of our heritage, landscape and nature. Till next time, bye-bye.